tudo bem? Okay, tudo bom? I have to practice my Portuguese more and more. So, till the last people are going to come, I'm going to start a little bit introducing myself, my team, and then we're going to go to work. We just heard this morning a lot of what is happening in the United States about our new president and the unpredictability of the president. So we're not going to go talk to politics today with me. But what we are going to talk is not about me, it's actually about you. I understand that most of you work in family offices. How many of you work in family offices? Please raise your hand so I can see. Okay. How many of you work for Shishpe? Okay. So we have a good mix here. So my talk is really not about me, it's about you. It's about how can you get more clients and how can you make more money. You know, we are all here to listen to what is going on in the world, but we are all here mainly to make money. That's what we're here for. So my name is Jacky Teplitzky, you know, a long last name. I don't know if you can guess from where I am originally. Anybody can take a guess? Germany. Santiago, Chile. I know, everybody's going to say, oh, with Teplitzky, how can it be Santiago, Chile? But I'm actually from Santiago. I am from Santiago, but my great parents went from Russia to Argentina, and then from Argentina to Chile. So I was born in Chile, and I was raised in Israel. So that's why my accent is a little bit strange. You know, I have a little bit of Spanish, I have a little bit of Hebrew. So the reason that I was asked to speak here today is exactly because of that. Because I was born in Santiago, Chile, I was raised in Israel, I worked for a multinational company that was based in Madrid, Spain, and then they transferred me to London. From London, I went back to Madrid, and from Madrid they transferred me to the US. And when they transferred me to the US, after 7 years for working for them, I basically decided to go into the real estate business. And I started the real estate business by trying to sell to the affluent, to the people that you manage their money, and I want you to manage their money and then to send it to us, for us to sell the property in New York and Miami. I'm also the head of the Jacky Teplitzky team. We have a booth out here, so after that, if you want to talk to me one-on-one, I will be here the whole day today, the whole day tomorrow. And I also want to introduce Tiago here to my right, Tiago Raposo Nunes, he is from Brazil. And so you will be able to ask him any questions about the New York and Miami market. We also have here Fernanda Moreno, who is originally from Mexico and via Chile, and she's the head of my team here in Miami. So you have the three of us here throughout the day. So let's start talking about the subject. And one of the things that I'm going to ask you is you can ask any questions, even in the middle of the presentation. You can ask in Portuguese. And Tiago here is going to help me with making sure that I understand the question. So we started with who I am. So we have the three flags right now. So I'm a daughter, obviously. I was a soldier in the Israeli army. I was actually a drill sergeant in the Israeli army. So, and I am also a mother of two boys. So in my house, the only person that wore the boots and know how to operate an M16 and an Uzi is me, okay? So my kids are very well trained to say, yes, ma'am, correct? To everything that so if you want a little bit of advice on that, I can also be helpful with that. people trade. So you buy a Picasso, you hold for the Picasso for 2 or 3 years, the Picasso goes up in price, somebody in Brazil calls somebody in Paris and say, hey, I'm looking for this Picasso, do you know who has it? And they say, yes, well, it's going to cost you, $10 million. He said, okay, fine, I'll wire you the money and, send me the Picasso. Now, I know that in Brazil, because I go a lot to Brazil, because I have 40% of my clients are from Latin America, and I would say that 30% of those 40% are Brazilians. So they do collect art. The next category is wine. Wine is a big thing among, very affluent Brazilians. I actually was invited to Porto Alegre to a very affluent gentleman with a very big house, and basically he invited 20 of his best friends when I was there to do a wine tasting in his wine cellar. So these are the categories that basically the affluent people invest their money, which means that when you want to go and meet them, you have to think that if you want to get more clients, what you have to do is you have to go where they go, which means that you have to go to all the art fairs around the world. There is one very large here in Miami, once a year in December. Anybody knows? Anybody? Please wake up. No coffee? Yeah, which art fair? Art Basel. So Art Basel, that actually started in Basel and not here. But here it became such a huge success, and the reason is because of the Latin American buyers that are coming here. So if you want to mingle and get the rich and famous, they are here between the 1st of December till the 6th of December every single year. The other thing that you have to go is to team up with luxury car dealers. The luxury car dealers here in Miami are most the ones that actually export to Brazil. And they are located here. And there are like only, 4 or 5 firms that actually specialize in that. Then you have the watches, then you have also the wine. So, you have the food and wine weekend that happens also here in Miami. So in all these places is where you can actually target the affluent and actually mingle and get them as your clients. So when we're talking about how to get them, networking is one of them that we just talked about. The next one is going to be, professional. What does it mean, professional? Now I tried with the help of Tiago here to translate as much as possible my slides so you can identify with them. So we talked before about networking in places like Art Basel, like the food and wine weekend. But you actually can network with other professionals that are in other industries that also have the same type of client. As an example, we talked about art. So you should network with art dealers. Art dealers have the same clientele that you are actually aspiring. So one of my best friends is an art dealer, and I hang out with her a lot. I go to a lot of events. I try that she invites me to a lot of events in order for me to be able to mingle with them. So professionals to professionals is something very important. Personal. Personal is something that we all forget. We think that we only have to network, that we only go to work to network. But I tell everybody that the minute that you leave your home, you're actually already networking. Why? Because if you live in a building, you get into an elevator, you're going to meet other people that might be your clients. If you go, the ladies here in the house, we don't have so many ladies in the house in this convention. If you go to the hairdresser, what happens? You're talking, we all know how difficult it is to sit there and do nothing. So if you talk to the person who is doing your hair, that person knows other people that potentially can be your clients. So everybody needs to know what you do for a living. Every single person, your dry cleaners, your hairdresser, the person that does your valet parking, everybody. So in order for them to be able to give you business. Now we're getting into marketing. So marketing is a very big word, and people say, I need to market myself. What does it mean to market yourself? It means that you have to create a brand for yourself. Now, a brand is very difficult to create. So I created a brand for myself. It's called the Jacky Teplitzky team. You go out, you see a booth, it's called the Jacky Teplitzky team. Some of you got some of my presentation kits. That's what I'm calling marketing myself. Right now I'm doing a video which I'm going to post on Facebook, and I'm going to say to everybody, I just spoke about how to get affluent business. And as you know, everybody wants to get that. So, PR. Now, PR or public relations. A lot of people think about PR, you know, they think about Jennifer Lopez, they think about, what's her name, Vergara. What's her name? Help me out. Sofia Vergara. Give me a name, you know, that you know from Brazil, like in entertainment. Anybody? All right, you're all very quiet. So we think that only celebrities actually use PR services. But everybody uses PR services. Companies use PR services. I'm sure that Xispe Investimentos use PR services. So I also use PR services. I have a PR company that only work for myself and for my team in order for us to let everybody know about what we sell in real estate in New York and Miami. So you also have to think about having a PR company that will target it and make sure that you are exposed to the right audience. We're talking about CRM, cause-related marketing. Has ever anybody in the room here has heard the cause-related marketing? Because you actually are learning it now in universities across the world. Anybody knows what CRM means? Yes? No? Can anybody? No? All right. So CRM is something very interesting. Cause-related marketing means that you are teaming up with a charity. You know, charities are very, very big in the US. So what you do is, you say, okay, if you buy from me an apartment for about $5 million, I'm going to donate 10% of the proceeds to a charity of your liking or a charity of my liking. Now, charities in the US are very, very large and very powerful. Here we have this, belief that you have to, if you are successful in your business, you have to give back to the community. And when you give back to the community, by the end of the day, the community gives it back to you. So it's like a cycle. So you have to get involved in charities that you are passionate about, that you believe in, that you think that those charities are something that you can really be somebody that is going to support with money, but also that you're going to be able to participate in their activities. Social media. Social media is huge, as we all know, but we have to be careful with social media because a lot of people use Facebook to get business, correct? The problem is, do you know what is the rule of thumb about what is the percentage of business related to non-business related that you should post? It's actually 80% non-business, 20% yes business. Why is that? People don't want to shove in your face that you're actually selling them something, because it's going to sound like you are a typical salesperson, that you are basically just using your Facebook in order to sell things. You can go into my Facebook, just type Jacky Teplitzky, ask me for you to be my friend, and you can see how I try to balance it between personal and professional. Events. So we talked about the typical events or the large events like Art Basel, but you have a lot of specific events that are smaller and more targeted. In my industry, I go to a lot of lunches and dinners related to real estate. I meet people that come to listen to about real estate. I go to lectures. I try to sit in a place next to somebody that I don't know. Most people don't do that. Most people have that comfort that they need to sit next to everybody that they know, and they start talking only to people that they know. Well, that's not the right way to do it. The right way to do it, you need to talk 5 seconds to each person and to move on. And that's how you actually get your business. Now, after you get them, after you get the high net worth individuals, and I'm going to talk about that, my clients from the 40% that I told you, 30% are Brazilians, the rest is a combination of Russians. I'm very big with the Russian community, and also other countries like Chile, Argentina. So, one of the things that is very important is confidentiality. They do not want you to tell somebody else that that other person is your client, which can be a problem because you cannot use somebody else's name without their permission. And it's very important to do that. I have a lot of clients from Latin America that I became friends with their wives, correct, or their significant others. And they come to New York or they come to Miami, and very often I'm being asked by the significant others and the wives, can you tell me how much money my husband has in his bank account? Because they don't even talk to each other about that. So can you imagine if I'm going to use his name or her name and use it with somebody else? That's completely taboo. I cannot do that. I have to be very careful with that. Now, this is something that it's a challenge for all of us because our high net worth individuals want us to be able to get back to them immediately. So, what are the challenges that we are facing? So, some people communicate to us via email. Some people communicate to us, especially from Latin America. How they communicate? How do you guys communicate? WhatsApp! Exactly. But WhatsApp is not so prevalent in the US. In the US, we do more texting. So we have texting, we have email, we have WhatsApp, and then we still have voicemail. Still some people use the phone to actually talk, not only like read messages. So the problem with that is that we are one, correct? You are, like all of you can be my clients. So I have to check all my devices in order to be able to answer you in a timely manner, which is a big problem, And how do we resolve the problem? Because if you don't answer your client in 2 seconds, they say, oh, that person is not available. They cannot serve me. They cannot tell me what's going on today in the stock market. They cannot give me the solutions that I need in an immediate way. So this is a big problem in our day and age. So what I put over there is I put our calendar, because the calendar also has appointments. So not only we have to check all of our email, voicemail, WhatsApp, we also have to go on appointments. So this is how, on the right-hand side, we end up looking. It's like, this pulpo. How do you say pulpo So you basically are multitasking the whole day, trying to get to everything that you need to do. Now, this is another challenge. The cultural differences between one country and another. And I understand that in Brazil, sometimes, because Brazil is such a large country, it's not even about one country and the other. Sometimes it's about Carioca versus Paulista, correct? So when I go to Rio, I have to talk and dress differently than when I go to Sao Paulo. Is that correct? Absolutely it is. So when I come to Miami, I also have to dress differently than I dress in New York. Because New York is a much more conservative environment. Miami, it's much more Latin. Everybody here is about how they look, how they dress. So the challenge with that is, if you are catering to different people from Brazil, you have to know even how to talk to them. You have to talk differently if you are in Sao Paulo, or if you are in Rio, or if you are in Porto Alegre. So this is something that you sometimes don't think, because what happens is you think in the way that you behave, but in order to connect with the other person, in order to be able to be on their same wavelength, you have to understand how they communicate. And how you explain things to them, it's differently than when you explain it to yourself or to the people that surround you. This is something, I put here a bodyguard, because when I went to see that gentleman in Porto Alegre, there were tons of bodyguards upstairs with like dogs, and also downstairs. And I'm thinking to myself, why is this? How can people live like that? Because I'm coming from living already too many years in the US. But I understand the problems of security that everybody's going through in Brazil, especially the people that have a lot of money. So I understand that when they come to New York, one of their main concerns, and to Miami, is security. One of the reasons that so many Brazilians buy property and apartments for their, first they buy for themselves, then they buy for their mother-in-law, then they buy for the sister, then they buy for the uncles, and then, the whole family is already here. Why do they do that? Because they can run in Central Park without a bodyguard. Nobody knows who they are. Nobody cares who they are, correct? Here, they can drive in Miami their Lamborghini without being afraid that somebody's going to put a gun to their head and is going to tell them, to leave the keys. So these are things that because I have been in Brazil, understand that, and I understand that the reason that the Brazilians are buying properties here is not only because they have, offshore money, it's because they are looking for a quality of life. They want to be able to enjoy their money. So because I understand that, I also understand the Brazilians that say to me, I want to live in this building in Miami, or I want to only live in the Upper East Side between 57th Street to 71st Street between Park and 5th. And when I ask them, why? There are other areas and other buildings that you should look. Oh, no. All my friends live in that area, okay? All my shopping, I do either in Bell Harbor or I do it on Madison Avenue, correct? So as long as I understand it, I can actually work with them, they can work with me, and I can sell them property. The same thing with you. You have to understand their needs. So, and this is very interesting, because in real estate, it comes to play more maybe than in the financial industry. Do you know what these signs are? Anybody knows? And anybody have heard about Feng Shui? So you know that in some cultures, if I'm dealing with the Chinese culture, the number 8, is it good luck or bad luck? Good luck, exactly. And the number 4? Bad, correct. So if I'm going to show them apartments in a vertical building, I have to be very careful about basically the number of apartment that I'm choosing. It's nothing to do if the apartment is nice or not nice. It's nothing to do if the apartment is renovated or not renovated. They would just not buy there. Now, for the Brazilians, I had a very bizarre situation, and I want to ask you this, because I asked that and nobody could give me this the explanation. Somebody told me that the Brazilians, and one of my clients told me, I cannot buy an apartment that the bed is positioned in a way that basically the legs are facing the window. Is that correct? Can somebody explain to me why?
No.
According to which belief?
Yeah.
Okay. So after, whoever said yes, please see me after and explain it to me. So those are the things that, you know, and in Feng Shui, it's all about the positioning of the apartment, it's all about the exposure of the apartment. So all of that are things that we have to know. Nothing to do with pricing, nothing to do with the state of the market. Now, this is something also that is a very big problem for us. Why? With the new regulations, after the crisis of 2008, 2009, correct? I need to know where is the money. I need to know from where is the money coming from. I need to know that this money is okay money. You know, and you know that a lot of that money used to go into real estate because it was the easiest way to get into real estate, to basically take the money that was offshore and make it, you know, good money, let's put it in that way. So this is something that, that is very difficult, because when I ask a Brazilian, okay, to tell me how much money they have, let's say it's my first meeting with them, I will never get an answer, correct? They don't trust me. They need to know who am I, who my parents are, who my great parents are. You know, the first time that I went to Sao Paulo for meetings, I thought that each meeting was going to take 30 minutes. My meetings took an hour and a half. And then I had to do 2 meetings, because the first meeting, they want to check my blood, correct? Who am I? And if I'm okay. Do I pass the test? I don't pass the test. Then they call me back. Can you come back? And then we talk business. So I learned my lesson. When I go the next time, I know I have to allot much more time. I also know that I have to go for drinks, I have to go for dinners, I have to go for lunches, because that's the way that, that everybody works. And then I can ask about this question. So I ask, do you have bank accounts in the US? Do you have bank accounts in Switzerland? Where do you have the money? So I understand where the money is coming from. Local and international market knowledge. So after we pass all that, you have to show that you know what you're talking about. Now the problem and the challenge that we have now also is that the financial markets can change in 5 seconds, correct? God forbid there is a terrorist attack somewhere. God forbid Mr. Trump tweets something that somebody doesn't like. God forbid something happens, not even in the US, but in a different area, not even in Brazil. It influences everything, and it changes everything. So, I always say, when you get up in the morning, when I get up in the morning, I live mainly in New York, I put 3 TV channels on. One is the local channel, because I need to know the weather. I need to know how am I going to dress that day. Very, very simple. Second, CNN, because I need to know if something happened around the world. And third is CNBC. Why CNBC? Anybody, why do I put CNBC on? Financial markets, exactly. So my business is influenced exactly the same as you. But the problem is, if I woke up that morning and I wasn't feeling that great, and I didn't look at my iPhone, or I didn't put the TV on, and I don't know what's happening, and I get on the phone with my client from Panama, I have a very affluent client in Panama, he's going to ask me, okay, Jacky, what's going on? What is the value of my apartment today at 432 Park? I just spent $30 million on that apartment. Now, because of this situation with Trump, is my apartment going to go down in value? What am I going to do? So this is something that we have to understand, that all of us, you and me, have to know on the dot what's going on in the financial market, locally and internationally. So look at these numbers. Now this is fascinating to me. We did a survey about the most important cities in 2015, and we're going to look for 2016 as well. So when I say most important cities, these are the cities that a lot of your clients are thinking that if something bad happens, they want to have property over there, or if something good happened, they want to invest in those cities, or sometimes even transfer their businesses to. So there is a competition between two cities in the world every single year. Can somebody tell me which are those two cities? Yes? Shout it.
London, New York.
London, New York, exactly. So every year there is a competition between those two cities. Sometimes number one is London, sometimes number one is New York. The reason for that is because of different regulations, taxation, and what is going on with taxation is a big thing about people that have a lot of net worth. But it's interesting to see, and we know Paris, we know why Zurich, but look at this. Now we have also Singapore, we have Hong Kong, we have Shanghai, we have Beijing, we have Miami. So it used to be only between those two, but now it's actually getting expanded. Now, for 2016, London is getting to be, that was the prediction at the end of 2016, that London was taking number one. This was before the Brexit. So we have to see what's going to happen in 2017. And New York was taking number two. And then you can see the rest of the cities. Now, if you're talking about by region, look at this. Look at number one. Look at number one is actually Sao Paulo. So Brazil is becoming a major point of interest for affluent people, and you can also, you're going to be able to see how the numbers are going, the people with the high net worth of $30 million are actually increasing in those cities. So this is just for you to understand a little bit about the real estate and how people think. How many square meters for 1 million you can buy. So you see here that right now in Sao Paulo, you can buy, what is it, 203 square meters, while in New York, basically, it's 27 square meters. So I know that a lot of people in Brazil are saying that, you know, the real estate market in Brazil, I know went up. Later on, you had a little bit of a crisis and it went down. But if you put things into perspective, you will see that that you are in a good place, you know, relatively to other cities in the world. Now, this is what's going to happen, and this is a very interesting number as well. So, the global $30 million population. A lot of people ask me, how many people are we talking about? So you can see here that in 2005, you saw a little bit of a dip, meaning 3% slide population. So you have 6,000 people around the world, 6,000 people that have a net worth of above $30 million. And what we are thinking about, the forecast of growth for the decade till 2025 is going to be 41%, which means that we're going to have plenty of more people with a much higher net worth. So basically, in the decade up to 2015, it went from 116,800 people to almost like 190,000 people with about 30 million, and this is worldwide. And by 2025, it's going to be 264,000 people. So think about, we all are going basically after this group in order for them to become our clients. So this is again with the greatest growth in the number of by the way, those initials is ultra high net worth individuals. So that's how we relate to that group. And you can see something very interesting about Brazil, Sao Paulo, that in Sao Paulo you're going to talk about probably 620 people. So what is happening in New York real estate? I'm going to open it for questions about everything, but I wanted just to leave you with some numbers so you understand a little bit about the markets as well. So in New York right now, the average sale price in New York is just above $2 million. We have this a very strange thing that we call co-ops. So among 100% of housing, 70% are co-ops and only 30% are condos. But most of the investors and the foreign buyers buy in condominiums because that's real property. You can rent it, you can do whatever you want with it. The average price per square foot, a square meter, was 18,945, and then you can see the difference between the condos being much more expensive. Now, a lot of people think that in New York, how many of you have visited New York? How many? Okay, so we have a fair amount. So I usually ask, this is a trivia question, how many apartments do you think are sold, on a yearly basis in New York? And a lot of people think that it's 30,000, 40,000, 50,000. The truth of the matter is that the usual number is around 10,000 apartments are being sold on a yearly basis. So right now, as we speak today, there are only 5,393 apartments for sale in New York. So that's why New York is a very stable market, because even though that you have some corrections, I'm not going to say that we don't, overall it's a stable market because we don't have that much inventory. And here you can see also for rent, so you can have an idea. Studios are renting for just under 3,000, one bedrooms just above 3,000, two bedrooms 5,000, and three bedrooms at about $8,000 a month. Now, in Miami, your average sales price is much lower, of course. It's $865,000, and your average price per square feet or per square meter is $6,738. It's almost like half of what in New York. The listing inventory active is 6,000, but this does not include, everything that is on the market. So there is more. There is new construction and also single-family houses that are not included here. It's only the condo sales. And then the rentals are a little bit more affordable in Miami. So just to give you an idea of what's going on. So one of the newest buildings in New York right now that everybody's talking about is 220 Central Park South. If you know the restaurant Marea, is next to Marea, very close by to Columbus Circle. That one right now is selling for above $7,000 per square feet. And you can see that it's almost, $80,000 per square meter. So it's one of the most expensive buildings in New York, very, very unique by one of the most glamorous architects, Robert H. Stern. Hudson Yards, it's almost a mini city that is being built by Related in New York. We are going to have the first Neiman Marcus, if you can believe that New York never had a Neiman Marcus. This is something that the flagship store is going to be based there. It's going to be almost $21,000 per square meter, which is not very expensive, but if you think that we are talking about the 30s, basically between 30th Street to 35th Street on 12th Avenue, this is a big, big step in New York real estate. And then in Miami, just to give you also for, comparison, Brickell City Center, by the way, since you are here, I urge you to go and see it, because Brickell City Center is also a new shopping center that you have. Most of the stores that you have in Bell Harbor, now they opened here, and it's an incredible development with new condos and new hotels and a huge shopping center as well. So, what do we offer you so you can work with us? One of the things that we do is we say exclusive and confidential services to international clients. So if you have clients that are looking to buy real estate in New York or Miami, and you just need for us to give you advice or to give you a general idea about what's going on, you call us, you email us, you WhatsApp us, and we answer you as soon as possible. Then we give you all the information about how to do it, how to find the asset, how to analyze the financial aspect of it, We also manage the property, so basically, that's why we call it the one-stop shop. And we have strategic partnerships with lawyers that speak Portuguese and can talk to you and can talk to your clients. With CPAs or contadores that can do all the taxation. With wealth advisors like you that we can partner and actually work together in order to make it very successful relationship. So if you do business with us and we do business with you, this is what you get. You are on top of your game because you show your clients that you know more than anybody else. You know what's going on global, local, and financial news. You are current, and together we can be not only good, but great. So let's open it to questions. I think that there is a mic. Somebody has a microphone that can, and if not, you can use mine. So please raise your hand, and I am open to any questions that you might have. Wow, you really did not have your coffee this morning. No cafezinho. You just had American coffee, that's the problem. Yeah. You didn't have the cafezinho, so that's why you are a little bit slow this morning, correct? Anybody? Yeah. Okay, we have one question. Okay, we have another question here. Good. Yes?
Good morning. I would like to know the most interest of the clients. They are looking for what? Average of return, liquidity, or what?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. Can you repeat?
When you offer some real estate for your clients,
yes,
what's the most common issue that they have? They are looking for returns, liquidity, or what? If you can scale those things.
Okay. So what are people looking for? It depends their purposes. One is capital protection. So capital protection is I don't care so much about my daily income or my monthly income or my yearly income. I just want to make sure that my money is not subject to volatility, that my asset is not going to devaluate that much, and that I am almost safe with putting my money there. That's the typical person that buys an apartment for them to live in, or maybe if they want to rent it out. Most of the ROI, return on investment, that you have in, let's say, Miami and New York is not that much on those apartments. Those apartments will give you 3%, 4%, maybe, but mostly it's between 2 and 3% because the expenses are high. Where you're going to get much more return on investment is on a lower end properties. Those you can get 6, 7, and even 8%. Yesterday I was analyzing for a client of mine from Chile about a multifamily, small building, $700,000 with 5 units that each unit is renting for $1,400. So that's not the numbers you saw there. That's a different market. So some people is a capital preservation. Some people want to get upside. So they are looking short-term and long-term. And some people are looking for just income. So it depends on what they look for, I tell them where to buy. Because every segment of the market behaves a little bit differently. We had a question over here. Here, okay.
My question is about the Miami market. If you see Miami, you see a lot of new buildings every day. That's going to be ready for a couple of months. I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of new apartments are going to be ready in Miami. Do you think the market can go lower than it is today? On the other hand, we have Latin America having trouble in their countries, and they were big buyers of this market. So at the same time, Latin American guys that have no liquidity is a problem right now for Latin Americans. At the same time, there's a lot of inventory that is going to come from Miami. What are your thoughts about it?
So your observations are very right and very correct. Miami is not part of the US. Do you know that? Miami is the capital of Latin America. If you come here and you don't speak Spanish, you have a problem. So real estate behaves the same way, because if there is a problem, in liquidity in Latin America, it directly affects the Miami market. So Miami market is really linked to the Latin America economy. So you're absolutely right. We have now a situation in some areas, not all the areas, and this is where I want to differentiate. In this area where we are here, Brickell, you have a very a large concentration of new development, and you also have buildings that are actually just closing now, and people either put their apartments for rent or they're trying to flip them and make money. So when you buy in Brickell, you have to be very careful where you buy and which building you buy at, and what are your expectations. To flip in 1 or 2 years, no, you're not going to make money. This is not, before the financial crisis. We're in a different situation. I believe that we are in a soft market. We were already in 2016. I think that you are going to see a little bit of a further market correction in 2017. But I also believe that wherever you have a market correction, you have opportunities. So that's an opportunity for somebody to get into the market in a soft place and try to negotiate as much as possible. So there is no offer right now that I tell my clients, this is a ridiculous offer. It all depends on the circumstances of the seller. If the seller needs out, they're going to sell. If the seller doesn't need out, they're not going to sell. So yes, so there is a softening and there is also opportunity. Now, there is a difference between Brickell, as an example, and on the ocean. Why? On the ocean, you have limited land. So where you have limited land, your appreciation and your capital preservation is better because you cannot create more beach. The beach is there and that's it. So now the city is pushing north. It's pushing even beyond Sunny Isles, where they're trying to build more buildings in a much better price. We had here.
Holding fine. We've been friends in the Facebook since 2015.
I'm sorry.
I watched your presentation in XP 2015 at Atibaia, Bourbon.
Oh, thank you for coming
Friends,
again.
yeah, coming again. So thinking out the box, like you said, talk to the people in the elevator from a condo and people that you not usually talk. What should be our advice? That if you were in our shoes,
My
working
advice
like we do, like
to buy or not to buy?
No, to buy, like to spend the networking.
Okay.
Do you get that? Do you understand?
No, I didn't.
If I want to grow my network,
Okay.
and I'm a financial advisor,
Okay.
and you just said that you talk to people in your condo, in the elevator, the hairdressers, and all
Yes.
of it. What is it? Should be another advice to
Financial.
if you're our shoes. Yeah.
Well, I can tell you that the way to grow your network of business in the financial area is the same thing that I do. Look, I came here to this convention. This is not a real estate convention, correct?
Yeah.
This is a financial convention. Most of the people that work in real estate would not even think about coming here and speaking in front of you because they think they only should participate in events related to real estate, or in your case, related to finance. So with you, I'm saying do exactly the opposite. Go and participate in real estate conventions. Participate in networking with whether it's banking, whether it's wealth managers. I don't know if you have Chamber of Commerce, like we have here Chamber of Commerce of Brazil, we have Chamber of Commerce of Latin America. So I try and network with people outside my area. And I try to go to every event that I think that my clients are. I'll give you a very simple place. Restaurants. Do you know that most of the rich and famous go to the same restaurants? Think about it. I can give you a list of 5 restaurants in Miami, 5 restaurants in New York, that you will find people of the 30 million and above. because they all talk to each other, and it's a very small network, okay? There is a restaurant across the street. Anybody knows a very famous restaurant across the street from here? Zuma. Zuma. Okay. Let's meet for drinks after this in the bar in Zuma. I guarantee you will do business. So, just to tell you that they all hang out in the same places. And today, with Google, you can actually research. You can put in Google most famous restaurants in New York, most famous restaurants in Miami, most famous restaurants in Sao Paulo or Rio. And then you're going to say, well, can I afford really those prices? And I say to you, okay, don't go there once a week. Go maybe once a month. Go maybe hang out in the bar first. Then when you start getting your clients, you can pay more for yourself, and you then invite your clients to come and join. Oh, wow, I'm invited to Zuma. Oh my God, I'm invited to Il Gabbiano. That's another place, Il Gabbiano. So Zuma is over there, by the way. Il Gabbiano is to my, it's a very famous Italian restaurant that people hang out. So you hang out wherever they hang out. More questions?
Hi.
Sorry.
So, how is our Airbnb influencing your business?
That's a very good question. Well, I can tell you that there is a big war going on against Airbnb, and my sons that are 22 and 18 are not happy about this war, correct? Because they love Airbnb. It's cheap, they can go anywhere. But the buildings in Miami, in the buildings in New York, especially the full service buildings with doormen and everything, they are cracking down. They are asking you, who are you, why are you coming here, what's going on? So in New York and Miami, it's more difficult. I mean, if you go to the houses, maybe it's different, but that's affecting more the hotel industry than the real estate industry. Not so much, real estate related, but more hotel related. I saw somebody here.
Hi, Jacky. My name is Marcus. I'm from Brazil, and I'm glad to know I'm on the right path because I'm in the real estate business, and I'm here with a partner of mine, it's Lennar, and I'd like to know your opinion about the Orlando market.
Yeah.
Okay?
So that's a very interesting question. The last time when I went to speak in Achibaya, somebody called me for Shishpe and said, hey, I have a client, he bought 3 houses in Orlando, can you go and meet with them? So when I sat with the client, and my first question is, why did you buy 3 houses in Orlando? And his answer was, because it's Disneyland, so I thought that everybody goes to Disneyland, so it's a good investment, and I can buy a house there for $100,000. And I say, yes, you can buy a house for $100,000. The question is that house in another 6-7 years is going to be worth $500,000, or is it still going to be worth $100,000? The problem with the Orlando market is based on Americans. Really, it's not based on international affluent people like Miami. It's a completely different market. I don't know, I heard a rumor that there was a Brazilian that went to live in Orlando, and then he was traveling around Brazil trying to tell everybody to invest in Orlando. And this guy apparently got everybody to invest. I would love to meet this guy one day. But I will be very careful with Orlando. Because again, Orlando is much more primary residence of a certain socioeconomics, and it's not the people that come and buy here. In Miami, even though that we're talking about that we are based on the Latin American economy, but you have people from France, you have people from Germany, you have people from Canada buying real estate here. So you have a lot, and New York, let's not forget New York, because in New York, in January, it's freezing cold. So even though that yesterday in Miami, I was like, what's going on here? Why is it so cold yesterday? But in any case, Orlando is a completely different market, and I will be very careful. There were a lot of houses that were built on spec in Orlando also, only for the whole purpose of selling them after. So that market is, it's a little bit saturated as well. I think that our time is up, so I'm going to stay here for any questions. And remember that we have a booth out there, so you can come, and whoever wants to come for drinks for Zuma, we're going to be there later on.